Just imagine this for a moment. One ordinary winter morning in Beijing. And in the space of one single minute, everything changes. No red carpet. No glossy magazine cover. Only a closed hospital door. A trembling pair of hands. And a baby girl whose very name is a promise of peace. Today we are talking about the moment Yang Mei Mei quietly welcomed her first child into the world. And the way Yu chose a baby name that has left fans speechless. You are watching Update X24H, and this is the story behind that one life-changing minute. Beijing wakes up in layers. Street vendors pull up their metal shutters. Buses sigh at every stop. Office lights flicker on one by one. It is a city used to noise, to rhythm, to the constant hum of movement. Yet on this particular winter morning at around 7 o'clock, there was a pocket of stillness hidden inside its endless motion. Inside a hospital that has seen thousands of births, the day had begun in the most ordinary way. Nurses checked charts. Junior doctors scrolled through morning schedules. The smell of disinfectant and hot tea mingled in the corridors. It was the kind of morning when nothing remarkable is expected to happen, when everyone assumes the day will unfold exactly as planned. Then a black car pulled up at the side entrance. Not a convoy, not a parade. Just one vehicle, moving with a quiet urgency that caught the eye of the security staff. The doors opened and in a matter of seconds the atmosphere shifted. Yang Mei Mei stepped out, her face pale yet composed, the strain of labor already visible in the way she clutched her abdomen. Beside her, Yu reached out instinctively, his hand becoming both anchor and lifeline. They moved quickly, not as celebrities, but simply as two people caught in a moment that refused to wait. Rumors about them had circled for months. Fans had argued over silhouettes, loose dresses, and camera angles. But gossip, for all its noise, had never touched this scene. Here there were no flashing lights, no shouted questions, no prepared lines. Only a city that did not yet know its morning had changed, and a couple walking through sliding doors, carrying a secret that was about to become a heartbeat the whole world would hear about. In that gap between outside and inside, Beijing, without realizing it, held its breath. In an industry built on visibility, choosing to remain unseen is almost an act of rebellion. For years, Yu and Yang Mei Mei have lived under lenses and headlines, their lives examined, dissected, and repackaged for public consumption. Yet whenever the cameras stopped rolling, those who truly knew them noticed something different. A steady, deliberate pull towards the quiet. They did not turn their love story into a long-running show. There were no exaggerated public displays, no carefully timed accidental photographs at popular dating spots. Instead, their most significant moments often passed without a trace online. Late-night walks when the city had thinned out. Simple meals at plain tables. Evenings where their phones lay untouched, screens black, while they shared thoughts that would never be translated into quotes. When rumors of a possible pregnancy began, every choice they made was examined. An oversized coat became breaking news. A hand placed protectively near her abdomen in one blurred image turned into a thread of speculation thousands of comments long. They could have used this attention. Others have built entire careers on a single rumor. But they did not. They chose silence. That silence was not cold nor dismissive. It was protective. It was the silence of two people who understood that some happiness is too delicate to be shouted into the world before its time. By refusing to play the usual game of denial and confirmation, they kept one part of their life entirely their own. So when the truth finally surfaced in the form of a hospital admission and a rush to the delivery room, it did not feel like a revelation staged for cameras. It felt like a door that had remained closed for as long as possible, finally opening because it had to, not because the world demanded it. In that choice, they reminded everyone watching that not every joy needs an audience to be real. There is a certain comfort in plans. Birth plans, schedules, carefully outlined expectations about how a day should unfold. For a while, it seemed that this birth might follow that reassuring path. Regular monitoring, calm updates, controlled progress. Yet life rarely asks for permission before rewriting our outlines. Inside the hospital, the shift from measured control to urgent improvisation happened with startling speed. One moment, nurses were calmly checking on other patients. The next, they were being called to prepare a delivery room sooner than expected. Monitors were wheeled into position, equipment checked with swift, practiced movements. People who had started their day believing it would be ordinary found themselves in the center of something fragile and unpredictable. At the heart of that sudden change were two people who had to surrender their plans altogether. For Mei Mei, each contraction was a reminder that her body had chosen its own timetable. Whatever she might have hoped for, a slower build-up, more time to adjust, a gentler lead-in, was no longer available. Labor had its own momentum, and she could only meet it with every breath she could manage. For Yu Long, the transformation was a different kind. He could not take the pain from her. He could not negotiate with the clock. All he could do was stand in that narrow space between fear and responsibility and stay. When staff asked him to move, he shifted. When they needed silence, he fell quiet. But every time he had a choice, he chose to remain close enough that she could feel his presence. Plans faded. Birth plans, media strategies, neatly arranged hopes for how they might one day share this news with the world. All of it became secondary. What remained was courage in its simplest form. A woman facing pain she could not postpone, and a man refusing to step away, both of them trusting a team of strangers with the most precious minutes of their lives. Sometimes courage is not loud. It is not heroic speeches or dramatic gestures. It is the refusal to run when everything feels dangerously out of your hands. There are moments that seem designed for cameras. Polished ceremonies, rehearsed speeches, carefully styled arrivals. This was not one of them. The birth of their daughter unfolded in a space where practicality overshadowed aesthetics, where the priority was not how anything looked, but whether everyone would be all right. When the final stretch of labor began, the room narrowed into essentials. Instructions, breathing, the glow of machines, the steady, watchful focus of professionals who had seen this scene many times and yet never treated it as routine. Outside that room, their lives existed in high-definition magazine covers, high-budget productions, television interviews. Inside, everything became muted and strangely intimate. The moment their daughter emerged into the world did not arrive with the cinematic language we are used to. There was no perfectly timed music rising in the background, no sweeping crane shot moving in to capture the exact second her eyes first opened. Instead, there was a sudden sharp cry, the kind that slices straight through air and fear alike, and then a breath and another, and the quiet rush of relief. Witnesses said that time seemed to bend around those first sounds. Nobody checked a phone. Nobody worried about angles. The only things that mattered were the color of her skin, the strength of her lungs, the signals from the pediatric team that meant, without needing many words, that she was safe. For Yu Long and Mei Mei, the world contracted into a single axis, from her to him, from them to the tiny life now resting between their past and their future. A camera could have recorded the scene, of course, but even the sharpest lens would have missed the weight of unspoken prayers, the echo of sleepless nights, the accumulation of every quiet decision that led to this one unrepeatable instant. Some moments resist being turned into content. They belong to the people who lived them, to the trembling hands, the whispered reassurances, and the fragile silence that follows after chaos has finally given way to calm. This was one of those moments.